You have 300 games in your Steam library. Game Pass is begging you to try something new. New releases drop every week. Your friends are talking about the latest hit. And you? You're booting up Skyrim again, starting a new Stardew Valley farm. Again. One more run of Hades. Again. One more Minecraft world that you swear is the final one. One more Elden Ring playthrough like you didn't already suffer enough the first time, and someone in your life is looking at you like, seriously? That game? Again?
But here's the thing. If you replay the same games over and over, you're not broken. You're not boring. You're not stuck in the past. Your brain is doing something extremely specific, something weirdly smart. And once you understand it, you'll never look at your comfort game the same way again. Because replaying a game isn't like rewatching a show. A show is passive. You sit there and absorb it. But a game? A game is a place you go, a system you control, a world that responds to you. It's not just familiar content, it's familiar power. And in a world where everything changes every 5 minutes, your brain loves that. So let's talk about the psychology of the people who replay the same games, and more importantly, what it says about you. First, we need to kill the biggest myth. People think replaying games is just nostalgia, or laziness, or you refusing to move on. But your brain isn't replaying the game because it ran out of options. Your brain is replaying the game because it found a shortcut to something it desperately wants. Safety, control, comfort, identity, progress. And games deliver that, better than almost anything else. So here are the 4 types of replay players, and what's actually happening inside their mind. Type 1, the control freak. This person doesn't replay games because they're bored. They replay because real life feels like a chaotic open world with no quest markers. Bills, messages, work, family stuff, world news, random problems that spawn out of nowhere like a stealth enemy you never asked for. And when life feels unpredictable, your brain starts craving a place it can control. That's why you load into the same game you already know. Because in that world, you know the rules. You know the map. You know the enemies. You know what works. Even if the game is intense, it's intense in a way that's fair. You can die 50 times in Dark Souls and still feel calmer than one awkward email from your boss. Because the game makes sense, and the psychology behind it is simple. When life feels uncertain, your brain tries to restore control. In a game, control is built in. You press a button, something happens. You try again, you improve. Your effort turns into progress. That's not just entertainment. That's relief. Control freaks aren't avoiding reality. They're restoring order. They're reminding their nervous system, I can do something. I can win something. I can handle something. Even if it's just farming turnips at 2 a.m. like a responsible adult. Type 2, the don't make me think gamer. This is the person who replays games the way some people put on background TV, because their brain is tired. Not physically tired, mentally tired. The kind of tired where choosing a new game feels like signing up for a second job. New controls, new menus, new mechanics, new story, new characters with names you'll forget immediately. And your brain is like, no, absolutely not. So you go back to something familiar, because replaying isn't demanding, it's automatic. Your hands already know what to do. Your muscle memory starts driving before your conscious mind even wakes up. It's like your brain switching to cruise control. And that matters because learning new systems costs energy. Following new plots costs energy. Making decisions costs energy. Replay games reduce the cognitive load. They give you a rare moment where your brain can exist without constantly solving problems. That's why don't make me think gamers replay games like Rocket League, FIFA, Tetris, Minecraft, Slay the Spire, Call of Duty. Anything where your body just moves. Because sometimes you don't want new stimulation. You want mental white noise, a predictable rhythm, a safe loop. Replay gaming isn't procrastination, it's recovery. Type 3, the time traveler. This person replays games, and it's not really about the game. It's about the version of them that lived inside it. Maybe it's the first game they ever loved, the one they played after school, the one they played late at night when life felt simpler. Maybe it's the game they played with a brother or a friend, or the game that got them through a hard time. And the moment they hear the menu music, their brain time travels. Not to the story, to a memory. And that's why replaying can hit you emotionally out of nowhere. You're not just booting up Pokemon. You're booting up being 12 years old again. You're not just loading The Witcher 3. You're loading the summer where you had time to breathe. You're not just playing Skyrim. You're walking back into a world that never changed, even while you did. Psychologists sometimes describe this as emotional time travel. Familiar media becomes a portal to past feelings and identity. That's why replaying a game can feel like visiting home. Because home isn't a place. It's a version of yourself that felt safe. And here's the part most people don't realize. You're not actually playing the same game twice, because you're not the same person twice. You play Minecraft as a kid, it's pure creativity. You play it as an adult, it's therapy with cubes. You play GTA when you're younger, it's chaos and freedom. You play it later, and you're like, wow, this is basically stress management with explosions. Same game. Different brain, different lens. Different emotional unlock. Time travelers aren't stuck. They're evolving inside the same world. Type 4, the level up addict. This is the person who doesn't replay for comfort. They replay for control through skill. Because one playthrough isn't the real game. The real game is becoming dangerous. The real game is perfecting your build. Beating the boss without taking damage. Learning the hidden mechanics. Finding the secret route. Unlocking the true ending. Getting 100%. Getting faster. For the level up addict, replaying isn't repetition, it's training. It's exploration through improvement. Their brain is addicted to a very specific feeling. Progress you can measure. And games are basically the best progress machine ever invented. You start weak, you get better. The world responds. Your skill becomes reality. This hits something deep in human psychology, the need for competence. Because real-life progress is slow and vague and invisible. You can work for months and feel nothing change. But in a game, you can feel improvement in 20 minutes. You can literally watch yourself become better. That's why level up addicts replay games like Elden Ring, Sekiro, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Celeste, Hollow Knight. Anything where mastery becomes identity. These players don't replay because they can't move on. They replay because improvement feels like meaning. Now here's the twist. Most replay players aren't just one type. They're a mix. You might replay the same game because you need control, you're mentally exhausted, you miss who you used to be, you crave mastery, you want to feel calm, you want to feel capable. And games are unique because they deliver all of that at the same time. A replay game becomes a psychological toolkit. It regulates your emotions. It restores your sense of competence. It reduces decision fatigue. It gives you predictable rewards. It puts you back in a world where you know how to survive. And yeah, decision fatigue is a huge one. Because choosing a new game is risky. What if the controls feel terrible? What if it's boring? What if it takes 12 hours to get good? What if it's one of those games that everyone calls a masterpiece, but you're secretly miserable? Replay games have no risk. You already know the payoff. It's the safest investment your brain can make. Zero uncertainty, maximum comfort, peak efficiency. And if you've had one of those days where your mind feels fried, sometimes replaying isn't a choice. It's the only thing that still feels possible. Also, there's a social layer people ignore. A lot of replay games are rituals. Your childhood game, your best friend game, your late night Discord game, the one that feels like a shared language. Even single player games can feel social because you're re-entering a world that remembers you. Or a world you remember so deeply it feels like part of your personality. That's why some people replay a game and say, I feel like I'm with old friends. Because in a weird way, you are. So the next time someone judges you for replaying the same game for the 8th time, you can tell them the truth. You're not wasting time. You're doing emotional regulation. You're restoring control. You're reducing cognitive load. You're reconnecting with identity. You're building competence. Or you can just tell them to mind their business. That works too. Because here's the real message. In a world that constantly demands you adapt, replaying a game is one of the few places where you don't have to. You can breathe. You can feel capable. You can return to something that makes sense. Your comfort game isn't a weakness. It's a home base. A place where you remember who you are and maybe who you're becoming. So which one are you? The control freak, the don't make me think gamer, the time traveler, or the level up addict? Drop a comment and tell me your comfort game, the one you always come back to. And if this hit you a little too accurately, subscribe, because I've got more psychology deep dives coming. And yes, I'm probably going to replay the same game tonight too.